Hey there, Nostalgics. Welcome back to the Nostalgia Factor, where we take a look at the best and worst in gaming. Today, guys, we're going to be taking a look at a classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Nintendo DS game released back in 2009. We'll be taking a look at Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds Stardust Accelerator. Let's go. For over 20 years now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been a massive franchise, with a card game, an anime, and of course the video games. The video games have all ranged here in quality, and I've personally reviewed a few of the Game Boy Advance games years back. But the question I want to answer today is with Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds Stardust Accelerator. Not only is this a good Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, but does it still hold up well enough today that both fans of the series and newcomers, can they go back and play it? Is it even really worth doing? Let's find out today in the review. Plot of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D Stardust Accelerator is actually a very good storyline. As someone who's a massive Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, this story very much appeals to me. It's based off of Season 1 of the original anime, with Yusei wielding the power of the Crimson Dragon as he newly discovers, in addition to facing off against his longtime rival Jack Atlas, discovers his destiny in defeating the forces of darkness that threaten New Domino City. And I really enjoy the plotline. You have an actual character who has a role within this game, who suffers from amnesia after waking up in Satellite, the slums of New Domino City to say the least, where people who are branded as criminals are sent off to work in factories and just generally live in poverty. And your character goes through a lot of the events from Season 1 of the anime, whether it be getting Yusei's friends back after they're kidnapped by a rival gang, going through the pipeline in order to make it to New Domino City, breaking out of the prison that you're at after dueling the warden, and of course, just the big World Fortune Cup tournament that takes place near the end of Season 1 where Yusei faces off against Jack Atlas. It's a very good story. It takes a lot of the characters, a lot of the plot lines from that Season 1, but your character is the main focus of it all. You get a frontline view, you get some original story elements with Goodwin, who's the big bad of the first few seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, and in general, I really enjoyed the story. I think if anyone jumps into this game that's new to the series, that hasn't watched the anime, or isn't familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh's plot in general, I feel like this is something that you could very easily get into, and who knows, maybe it'll tickle your fancy, so to speak. And if you're already a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, then you're going to absolutely love the story present within this game, without spoiling too much for both newcomers and the new stuff for veterans of the series. But the storyline, absolutely great. Actually, with great moments like this here, this is actually a really good plot. Now, when it comes to any of these Yu-Gi-Oh games, the plot, regardless if it's based off of something pre-existing from the anime, or if it's something completely original like Chef of Destruction, which I reviewed a few years ago, the gameplay is really what you're going to be coming back for here. And let me tell you guys right now, for a game that's based off an already pre-existing anime and is in all essence a licensed game, especially considering it takes the events of Season 1 and translates into a fully fleshed out game, this game looks visually impressive on the Nintendo DS. The models of each of the characters, the duel running sequences as you're going down the highway and all the optional tracks, the actual dueling animations itself when it comes to summoning monsters, laying down spells and trap cards, certain monsters that are iconic within the Yu-Gi-Oh series get temporary spotlights whenever you summon them. It's all really good stuff, and this is actually a pretty banger soundtrack in addition to everything else. It's something that I really enjoy when a game, especially if it's a licensed game, when a lot of these companies do the bare minimum, they take really cool core ideas and they're able to make very creative music out of it. So the visuals in this game look fantastic, as well as the soundtrack. There are two different elements that I really want to cover when it comes to the gameplay, which is the core of the experience. The actual dueling and the side stuff itself, as well as the World Championship mode. One thing that a lot of these Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds games did on the Nintendo DS is that they included a very in-depth World Championship mode outside of the story mode, but we'll get to that here in a second. The actual gameplay itself for dueling, it's fairly straightforward. You construct a deck made of monster, spell, and trap cards, duel against a variety of opponents throughout the game, both mainline characters that you need to actually face off against to progress the plot, and side characters that you can challenge throughout the game. This is all fairly standard and straightforward. The dueling here works fantastic. The strategies are all present from the timeline at that point. You know, fusion monsters, synchro monsters, all that other stuff. The standard dueling gameplay here is very well presented, it works extremely well, and you can create as many big decks as you want from that time period of Yu-Gi-Oh! When all these different cards and card packs are available. No complaints whatsoever when it comes to the actual dueling mechanics. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! In its finest form. If you enjoy that type of gameplay from the card game, you're going to love the gameplay here. What I really want to highlight here isn't so much the actual card gameplay itself, but all the side content that's present to you within this game. But first and foremost, I want to highlight some more of the gameplay from the actual dueling itself, because again, there's some pretty impressive strategies that you can pull off within the game, depending on the cards you have.
No. Yoichi, draw a card.
Now, the World Championship mode itself. This is where I feel the game lacks. Now, I haven't mentioned a lot of critiques throughout this video so far when it comes to this game. I basically praised pretty much every element of it, whether it be the story, the visuals, and the core dueling gameplay itself, whether it be the regular duels or the Duel Runner segments. It's all pretty good stuff. I don't really have any complaints. My main complaint is mainly centered around the World Championship mode itself. This is extremely lacking compared to a lot of future 5Ds games, and it's not bad by any means. The World Championship mode allows you to go have access to the shop. You can challenge NPC duelists, which are basically dual monster spirits that you face off against for special moments and rewards and everything else that it offers. but it's extremely bare bones in comparison to a lot of the other games. Not a bad mode by any means, but there aren't a ton of duelists available. It's really the same type of stuff. If you were sick of dueling at this point in the story, you're not going to get much enjoyment out of the World Championship mode, and it doesn't really have a lot to offer compared to other 5Ds games. The World Championship mode is a solid enough time if you're interested in sinking the time into unlock new duelists and new cards and all that, but there isn't really a ton to do outside of those duels, whereas the next game after this one, for Reverse of Arcadia, offers so much more. So the World Championship mode itself is pretty lacking, but it's not bad. That is basically all I really have to cover for Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds Stardust Accelerator, guys. Honestly, this isn't my favorite game of the 3 5Ds games that have come out. Reverse of Arcadia, the second one, is my personal favorite. That came out in 2010. But Stardust Accelerator on its own is a very good game. This is not only one of the best DS games I've played, but one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Licensed games, and I argue that if you're a fan of the franchise and you haven't played this one yet, from everything I've talked about in this video, there isn't really a lot of complaints that I have outside of a lacking World Championship mode. If you like the anime, if you like dueling, if you like Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, and you like 5Ds, you're going to really enjoy this game. I can recommend this one to pretty much anybody. New fans, returning fans, or if you're just curious to check out a good licensed game for once, definitely check out Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D Stardust Accelerator. It's available for fairly cheap on the Nintendo DS, and honestly, this is one that I recommend you guys check out and play. But if you liked this one, stay tuned for future reviews, because the other 5Ds games, even better. If you guys did enjoy this video, give it a like if you guys want to help support the channel. It really does help out for the videos. Comment down below what you guys think about the review, and if you've ever played Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D Stardust Accelerator, what you guys think about it, just any thoughts in general that you have. And if you want to catch more content like this in the future, whether it be reviews, collaborations, collection pickups, etc., subscribe to the channel to catch future videos. And that is all from me, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I very much appreciate it. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next one. Keep on gaming.